Hello everyone, this is me Garima Singh. I hope you all are doing well. Today I will discuss the third chapter of Indian Yearbook, that is polity. I'm sure that everyone have, like all of you have been go through that. I'm Lakshmikant, which is a detailed and a detailed way everything is given, and that is the good book for polity. I find it like one of the good book. So let's talk about polity, basically journal polity in a summarized way. It is like that the republic is governed in term of constitution, which was adopted by Constituent Assembly of India on 26 November 1949 and came into force on 26 June 1950. So you have to remember two things. It was adopted on 26 November 1949, but it came into force on 26 June 1950. And that was all about introduction. This thing you can also get in preamble. So let's talk about citizenship. That is the second unit in M. Lakshmikant, but here we are telling in a very short ways. Let's citizenship. We have single citizenship. The constitution provide for a single citizenship for the whole of India. Like America have two citizenship, one for each the state that they have, and the other is like USA as a whole. But in India, the constitution provide for a single citizenship. There are certain conditions regarding citizenship, like every person who was at the commencement of the constitution, that is 26 Jan 1950, domicile in the territory of India. Then second, who was born in India, or either of whose parent was born in India, or who has been ordinarily resident in India for not less than 5 years, can become a citizen of India. So these are the conditions to basically regarding citizenship. Citizenship Act 1955 deals with the matters relating to acquisition, determination, and termination of Indian citizenship after the commencement of the constitution. Fundamental duties, the it was came into existence through 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act and adopted in the year 1976. Basically, fundamental duties of citizen have also been enumerated in Article 51A, that contained in the Part 4th A of Constitution. Let's talk about what are these fundamental duties that we have. Fundamental duties, it shall be the duty of every citizen of India, like to abide by the constitution and respect national flag, national anthem, and institutional, then cherish and follow the noble ideas which inspired our national struggle for freedom, then uphold and protect the sovereignty and unity and integrity, as well as defend the country and render national services whenever called upon to do so. Then fifth is to promote harmony and spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people of India, transcending religion, linguistic. Basically, there should be a feeling of common brotherhood. Mental duties to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Then seventh is to protect and improve the natural environment, that include forest, lakes, river, wildlife, everything. Then eighth is to develop scientific temper. Ninth is to safeguard public property. Then tenth is to strive toward excellence in all sphere. Uh, Basically collective activity to the nation. That was the 10 fundamental duties. The 11th one is added through another constitutional amendment. Principle of state policy, these are the positive obligation on the state, whereas fundamental rights are negative obligation on the state. So significance is that they are fundamental for basically fundamental in governance of the country, and it is the duty of the state to apply the principle in making law. Why fundamental right are negative obligation on the state? Because if your right are violated, then you can go to the court of law, but in the DPSP you can't. So that is the difference between them. There are very key directives like strive to states shall strive to protect the welfare of people by securing and protecting as effectively as it may a social order in which justice can be given in a social, economic, and political way. It shall also endeavor to secure to worker a living wage and humane condition of working and secure a distribution of ownership. Then other important directive relate to provision of opportunity and facility for children to develop in a healthy manner, free and compulsory education for all children up to the age of 14. Then promotion of educational and economic interest of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and other weaker section, organization of village panchayat, and separation of judiciary from executive. These are the DPSPs. Here I have tell in a summarized way. In M. Lakshmikant you can get in a detailed way as well as in a segregation form. Union executive, firstly we will talk about president. He is our head of state, and elected by members of an electoral college consisting of elected member. You have to keep in mind elected, not nominal. Elected member of both the houses of parliament and legislative assembly of the state in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. Then the president must be a citizen of India and not less than 35 years of age and qualified for electing as a member of Lok Sabha. Term of office is 5 years and he is eligible for re-election. His removal from office is to be in accordance with the procedure prescribed in Article 61 of the Constitution. An executive power of the Union is vested in the President and he is exercised by him either directly or through officers subordinate to him in accordance with the Constitution. About Vice President. Vice President is the second highest constitutional office in the country. His term of office is also 5 years but can basically continue to be in office irrespective of the expiry of the term until the successor assume office. Then Vice President must be a citizen of India, not less than 35 years of age and eligible for election as a member of Rajya Sabha. He is eligible for re-election also. Elected by member of electoral college consisting of member of both the houses of parliament in accordance with the system of proportional representation, the same as president by single transferable vote. The vice president is an ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Council of Ministers. So there is a council of ministers headed by Prime Minister of India and basically to aid and advise the president in exercise of his function. That is the basically function of council of minister. The PM is appointed by the president who also appoint other minister on the advice of PM. The council is collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha. Let's talk about cabinet secretariat. So the cabinet secretariat function directly under the prime minister. The cabinet secretariat ensure that president, the vice president and minister are kept informed of the major activities of all ministries, department by means of monthly summary of their activities. Union legislature is it all about? So legislature consists of president of India and two houses, like I said, president, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. It is union legislature. Firstly we discuss Rajya Sabha, then Lok Sabha. So Rajya Sabha, the total number of member in Rajya Sabha is 250 and out of them 12 are nominated by the president, and here each member is elected for 6 years. And Rajya Sabha is a permanent body and cannot be dissolved fully. Then the Vice President of India is the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. Currently in Rajya Sabha has a maximum membership of 245, out of which 233 are elected by the legislature of the states and UT, and 12 basically by single transferable vote through open ballot, while the 12 are appointed by president for their contribution on various fields like art, literature or social service. Lok Sabha, so the maximum strength of house allotted by Constitution of India is 550. Currently the house has 543 seats, which is made up basically by the election of up to 543 elected member, and at a maximum between basically 1952 and 2022 additional member of Anglo-Indian community were also nominated by the President of India on the advice of Government of India, which was abolished in January 2020 by 104th Constitutional Amendment Act. Of membership for Lok Sabha. So in order to be chosen a member of parliament, a person must be a citizen of India, not less than 30 years of age in the case of Rajya Sabha, and not less than 25 years of age in the case of Lok Sabha. Basically, I'm discussing qualification for both the houses. For Rajya Sabha, it should not be less than 30 years of age. For Lok Sabha, it should not be less than 25 years of age. Additional qualification may be prescribed by Parliament by law. This topic is committees. It has not been given in the Constitution, but in Indian Yearbook there is a column where is a prescribed form about committee is given. So meaning of committee, basically a committee which is appointed or elected by the house or nominated by the speaker, which works under the direction of the speaker and present its report to the house or to the speaker. The secretariat for which is provided by the Lok Sabha secretariat. Then there are basically types of committee like standing committee and ad hoc committee. So standing committee are permanent and regular committees which are constituted from time to time. The worker of the committee is of continuous nature. The financial committee like DRSCs and some other committees come under the category of standing committees. There are three financial committees like committee of estimate, committee on public accounts, committee on public undertaking. There's like number of committees. I've discussed three financial committees. Committee that is ad hoc committee. These are appointed for a specific purpose and they cease to exist when they finish the task assigned to them and submit a report. The principal ad hoc committee are the select and joint committee on bills like consultative committee. The main objective of these committees is to provide a forum for information discussion between discussion between member of parliament one hand and the minister and senior officer of the government on the other hand on policies principle and program. 10 basically minimum members is 10 and maximum is 30. The committees basically stand dissolved upon dissolution of every Lok Sabha and reconstituent upon constitution of each Lok Sabha.